Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. You're in for a special treat this afternoon. We have a guest presenter, and we are going to be learning about one of the products that is within the SiteGG Business Toolkit that we haven't done a webinar on in quite a while. Before we get started, I'm Carol Campbell, and I will be joined by Alexis Rink, who is our support specialist, and also our guest presenter, David Monroe, CCIM, who is going to be presenting today on RealNex MarketEdge. Before I turn the presentation over to David, just a couple of housekeeping things. You know that you are in listen-only mode, which means you can hear us. We cannot hear you. However, you can communicate with us over in the right-hand side of your screen. You should see a place where you can type in questions. Please feel free to do those, to type those in as the presentation progresses. And Alexis and I will try to answer the questions that we can, and then towards the end of the presentation, we will come back in and have David help us with the questions that we weren't able to answer. All right, so with that, let me introduce our guest speaker, David Monroe. As I said, he's CCIM. He is the President and Chief Operations Officer for Sperry Commercial Global Affiliates, which is also known as the Andrews Group. He focuses primarily on multifamily. David is an ex-Marine, served 12 years in the United States Marine Corps. And so, and if you're around him very much, you can see that military in him, with the discipline and the way he treats people. So he's a joy to work with. He has also been recently named as a CCIM workshop leader within the CCIM community. So he will progress to become a CCIM instructor. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to David and let him get started. And as I said, please type in those questions over the right-hand side so we can come back around to you and answer those. All right, David, welcome, and thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you very much, Carol. I hope everybody can hear me. If you can, go ahead and type yes in the chat box so we can see that everybody can hear us talking. Let's see. I'm not seeing any yeses yet. Can you guys hear us? Anyone? Carol, can you verify that they can hear us?
I can hear you.
Nobody.
And we did start the broadcast.
Yeah. Anybody listening?
Okay, we're getting some responses now.
Okay, I'm not seeing them for some reason, but that's okay. I'll let you handle that. All right, so as Carol said, my name is David Monroe. I am a CCIM. I'm the Panhandle president for the Florida chapter. It's a district. Florida has 8 or 9 districts. I don't remember. You think as a Panhandle president, I know that. And I also am the vice president of sales and business development for the Eastern region for RealNex, which is why I'm doing this webinar for you today. What we're going to do is I'm going to go over some updates, some really, really important and exciting updates that we've had just in the last couple of weeks. I know that the registration said we were going to do an investment analysis and possibly get to a lease analysis, but I think these updates are more important, and one of the updates is going to actually show you how you can create your own investment analysis. So by showing you that, it's better than just me doing it for you. You'll actually be able to see and let it walk you through exactly how to do that. We're also going to go over a guide me function that's going to show you how to create a proposal for a multifamily property. As Carol said, obviously, just by looking at my screen, you can see that I specialize in multifamily. I am in the demo database. I'm not in my personal database. I've actually been a user of RealNex for the last 2 years. Before that, I was a user of ClientLook, and before that, I was a user of Apto, and just chose to stay with RealNex for a multitude of reasons. We're also going to look at what a proposal looks like when it's complete. So we'll build one. It only takes a minute or two to do that. And then instead of editing and going through that whole process and wasting some time, I'm actually going to show you what that proposal looks like, and then some important updates on how to make it look the way I made it look, because it's gonna look real pretty, and you're gonna say there's no way that former REI-wise can actually put out that kind of product now. We've been through that many changes. It's really incredible what it can do. Then one of the most exciting tools, as far as I'm concerned, that's come out just in the last few days is the development analysis tool. So if we have time, we're going to go over quickly on development analysis, and then I'm going to show you how to access some training. But with the Guide Me function that you see up here, you're probably not going to need to go to any of the training videos, because this really does show you everything that you need to do within the tool. So there's a couple of ways you can create a new property. One of those, and if you have the entire suite, so I'm going to switch over to the CRM real quick. If you've got access to the entire suite and you've got your property in the database that you want to do, and I'm going to select one of the properties that are actually in MarketEdge, this one right here, and we're in that property record, all you need to do is click this little Analyze button. What that's going to do is that will bring in every bit of information that you have on that property into MarketEdge, so you don't have to re-enter it a second time. You just click the little Analyze button. It'll ask you, do you want to update? If you do, click yes. I'm going to hit no because I've already done some stuff in here for later. So that's how you would access one way to get into MarketEdge, and that's the most important way if you have the suite. You definitely want to come in so it flows to MarketEdge. The other way is come up here and just click New Property. Now, you can click a new property and put the information in, and maybe you do or maybe you don't know how to do an investment analysis to a proposal. If you don't, and this is where the tool really starts to shine, and this is all new, you come up here to Guide Me, and you can select a multifamily property, an office, an industrial, or a commercial. So we're going to do a multifamily property. You can create new from right here. It'll explain to you exactly how to create it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. I'm going to go into this property here, and I'm going to come back to Guide Me, so you know we're in the General tab of that property. So I'm going to start in the General tab. So I'm going to click here, and you'll see that it's now going to walk me through exactly how to create this multifamily analysis. Put in the square feet. Now I'm going to go through this pretty quickly so we don't waste a whole lot of time. Put in the property information, more property information. The more you can put in here, the better. And you sit here and you'll actually enter this information in, and then once you're done, you just hit next and just keep going. So value of the land, I don't know why it should have come up here. Put in the value of the land, put in your resale value information, put in your expenses, put in your discount rate, and I'll show you in a little while, once you put in your discount rate, where your MPV will show up. Then put in all the property details, which includes the property description, overview, and location overview. This information is what's going to show up on your proposal or your offering memorandum. Hit next. Now we're going to go to the financials tab. Click on the financials, and as you can see, all I'm doing is following the instructions. Put in our capital reserves, put in our down payment, enter our loan information. Now, what's really unique about RealNex and MarketEdge is most everything you see either online or in tools like our discounted cash flow analysis models with CCIM, you can put in 2 loans side by side. We allow you to put up to 3 loans, and what you can do is you can change this to an interest only, do it for an amortization, say, of 3 years. Of course, it won't be amortized because it's interest only. Put in closing costs, and when you put in a interest only, it'll say how long do you want to put it in for a period. You could put 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. I think you can even get up to 5 years these days of interest only. And then on loan 2, you'll hit refinance if you're going to refinance that bridge loan out, and put all the information for your permanent debt here and hit calculate. And what that's going to do is when you get into your discounted cash flow analysis, it will actually calculate that refinance for you. I don't know anywhere else in any other system that will actually allow you to do that. So we're not going to change any of that information. We're going to go to next, hit calculate to calculate all your loan information, and then put in the tax information. We know right now the federal income tax rate at the highest is 37, capital gains is 20. Is the passive loss rule yes or no? And then what's your state income tax? Here in Alabama, it's 5%. So we hit next. Now we're going to go to the income tab. So we just follow these directions. So this just tells you begin with the end in mind. We always know we're going to purchase a property when we utilize our exit plan. So that's just kind of reminding you of that. So we can either do a speed analysis, and I've done that in this case just to save time, or we can enter the tenant mix. You can see in the speed analysis, I put in monthly income, be careful of that, with annual increases and annual vacancy. Now, I didn't put in any vacancy here, and I'm going to show you in a minute why. So we put in our unit mix information, how many units, what's the average square feet, and then if I'm not doing a speed analysis, I'd put in the rents. I'd put in whether they're per month, per year, square foot per month, or square foot per year. And this will change per property type. This is for multifamily. If this was a commercial property, you'd have tenant improvements, lease start, lease expiration. You'd even be able to add in information about the tenant themselves. Any increases, any free rent in concessions, and that's in months for multifamily, and then any vacancy. And then I can upload an entire rent roll if I want to do that instead of putting in unit mixes. Enter all the miscellaneous income for the property. And then remember I said I don't want to put in vacancy here because I'm now going to come up here. I'm going to refine my global vacancy, and I'm going to set my global vacancy. So I'm saying in year 1, it's going to be 7%, 2, 8, 3, 7, 4, 8, and then remaining year 7. Now we're only going to do a 5-year analysis, so it really isn't going to matter beyond that. And then we're going to hit save. The reason we do that is because if you put any vacancy in down here or here, that's actually credit loss or turnover vacancy. Physical vacancy is calculated up in the global settings, so remember that. Next, we're going to go to expenses. We can do the same thing, do the speed analysis. You can put your property management fee up here. The reason 15% is here is because this is including our payroll and burden. If I didn't want to spell it out down here, it just saves space. Otherwise, this would probably be 4% or anywhere from 3.5 to 5 for multifamily over 100 units. Put in a reserve amount if you want to, whether it's square foot per unit or a dollar amount. Speed analysis, which is what we're going to do here. We're going to say annual expenses are $650,000 are going to increase at 2% per year. We're going to hit next. If we didn't hit speed analysis, you can see that all of your expenses can be added down here. We can change any of this information. Let's say this was going to be supplies. Right? So we can change any of that information, and we can edit the amounts, and we can edit the annual increases. Once that's done, you hit compute expenses and total it here. If it was a commercial property, any reimbursables you'd have would be here. Then you can enter your capital expenses if this is a value add project. Hit next, and now we're going to go to projections. So you can see in the projections that it does a up to 20-year cash flow model, but when we get to our output, you see we're only going to do 5 years, but it will do up to 20. It's just your typical cash flow analysis, just like we do at the CCIM Institute. We can look at our financial indicators, get our gross rent multiplier, cap rate, cash on cash, debt coverage ratio, net income multiplier, expense per foot, operating expense ratio, loan to value ratio. We also have our investment return analysis. Remember I mentioned the discount rate? There's your net present value right here for this property. So we could actually pay an additional $648,621 for the property if we were to purchase it with these cash flows. So this is just for you visually. You'll be able to pull a lot of these charts into your output, and we'll show you that shortly. So now we're going to go to the charts tab. All that is just showing you the different charts that you can get, and we all know when we do these pro formas, they all look even, but in reality, they never actually end up working out this way. But you can view the different types of charts that we have available for viewing, and you can pull these charts in your output as well. Hit next again. That's going to take you to the dashboard. The dashboard is your kind of 1 year snapshot. View year one numbers on this page. So you can look at all those numbers. What I like to do is I have a little snapshot feature where I can capture my screen, and I'll take a picture of this and I can put this in my output because this is just a nice representation of what year one looks like. Then we're going to go to the output tab. And from here, this is where you're going to create your either offering memorandum, your proposal, marketing plan, whatever it is you want to do. And it's telling you right here, this is how you're going to do it. We hit next. It continues to tell you to put up more information here. Again, it's just showing you what you're going to do. You can either do it now or you can do it later. Hit next. And I'm going to recommend doing it later because I'm going to show you where it's going to tell you exactly what to put in there for investment analysis properties. You can publish the proposal either by preview save. That'll bring up a PDF. You can email it to yourself or someone else. You can e-publish it, which it'll do an EPUB file, so it looks just like a magazine through a link inside your browser, or you can export it to Excel. For the e-publish, that is only available for portrait type proposals. If you change your proposal to landscape, which, and here's an update, you can now have a 100% complete proposal or offering memorandum in landscape. So if you have it in landscape, you cannot e-publish. E-publish is only for portrait, right? So we go next. It gives you more options. You can put in multiple proposal contacts, change it from orientation here, portrait or landscape, and some other information, your table of contents, which is new. Your projected years, remember we set up to 20. We like to work in a 5-year world, and you can add additional contacts here if you need to. So we're going to go over that in a few minutes. Hit next. I can change the report colors. So you can see this is all in blue. I can change that color to anything I want. If I know what the hexadecimal code is, I can enter it here, or I can pick it from the color picker. Same thing with the header, same thing with the table. Or I can reset everything to the default. Hit next. Now, we're going to go over how to actually create these templates with this little icon, which is another major update. So we'll go over this in just a few minutes. And then we've got our photo library, which you can bring in up to 30 photos for your library and up to 30 logos. And then you can upload either the logos here or the photos here. And those logos are for your company logo, not things like retail logos, things like that. Hit done. And that's how you create the proposals. That walks you through your entire investment analysis. Now, once you've done that investment analysis, we need to create our proposal. Well, what in the world do I need to do here? So remember I said come to templates. And now this little icon right here creeps up. So I want to look here. You're probably not going to have this cover sheet template yet. So what you need to do is click here. You need to install this cover sheet first. So if I hit here, it's just going to build the cover sheet tool. Click the X. Is the cover sheet here? Yes. Click next. And now it's got the cover sheet there. So now we're going to hit done. Now I'm going to come here, and do I want a proposal or an offering memorandum? It says for multifamily properties, but this is an investment proposal or an investment offering memorandum, so you can use this for retail, office, or industrial. And then if you just want a basic template, the 7 basic, you've got financials, resale and IRR, projection reports, charts and graphs, agent introduction, investment analysis. You can create those as well. Well, we're going to do a multifamily proposal. And now it's going to tell me that I'm going to have to do a little bit of work. So this is showing you what you have to do. And we're going to go ahead and start. So now it's going to come down here and it's going to tell me exactly what reports I need to pull up here. So it wants me to bring up the property summary report, the property description. It wants me to add a section page, which it's going to create automatically. Give it a second. Notice it calls it photo and maps now. Once it's finished updating, bring up property photos, location map, aerial map, regional map, and another section page. Give it a second, let it do its little thing. Let this render, and let's keep going. So executive summary, investment details, unit mix, Proforma Summary, annual operating data, cash flow analysis, investment return analysis. You probably remember a lot of these from the projections that we looked at. Another section page, let it do its thing. Bring up the BOV BPO. We're now doing the proposal side of it. Bring in our rent comps to support it. Bring in our sale comps to support it. Add our next sale page or section page. Let it do its little thing. If you start to run out of room, scroll down before you bring the next one up. It'll give you this white space. It'll definitely help you. Now we're going to bring up our marketing plan and our next section page. Notice it's creating the sections automatically. You'll see we're now in section 5. You don't have to change any of that information. We are going to go in later and change the images in here because you could put background images in it. So now it wants me to bring up some attachments. So let's bring up a couple of these attachments for market data. It used to be that you could only bring in 10 attachments per proposal. Now it's unlimited. You can bring in as many as you want. New section page. Keep scrolling down to give me this white space. Put in my extended demographics. Another section page. I believe this is the last one. Yep. So now I'll bring in my professional bio and recent transactions. And that now completes. So here is where you save the template. So it is now called the multifamily proposal. You hit done, and that's it. Now you've got this proposal. So if I close this and I come back up and say, you know what? When I first come in here, none of this was here, right? I'm going to empty all this out. Start with my cover page. I'm going to come up to templates and I'm going to say, I want to load my multifamily proposal. Give it a minute and boom. Now that you've got that template saved, here it is for every time you ever come back for an investment proposal. Now, you can go in and edit all this information like I mentioned before. Well, let's go and look and see what it looks like in completed form. So let's go to Windsor Place. So this is a real property, but this is a fictitious proposal. So you can see I've changed it to landscape. You've got multiple different cover sheets that you can choose from. My favorite just happens to be the full page photo with the info on the left. But you can change this in landscape mode. We can change it to where the information is on the bottom. We can change it to 4 photos and highlights, so I'd have to enter all that information. You can do the sunburst, which is really another good looking one. I just happen to like the full page photo on the left. I like this one. To change your logo, you can click on the logo. let's say I want our color logo here. You can see that the color logo shows up. I'm going to change it back because I don't want the color one, I want the white one. I can change and edit any of this information. So you can enter up to 3 lines for titles, 3 lines for subtitles, the address, and you see we've got 3 people here on the proposal. If I come up here and go to proposal contacts, I'm the primary. I can go to alternate and put in 2 other agents that are on this property and then hit save, and that will bring the other people in. When I go to my next area, I can then come in here, go back to options. The proposal logo is up here. I can even change my proposal logo. Let's say I want to use, again, my color one, which wouldn't make sense in a blue background, but I can put it there if I wanted to. I'm going to go back and change it again, back to the white, so it stays there. And I can also come in and put where I want it. So I can have a header, footer. I can have just 1 agent or just 2 agents. So now there's just 2 agents with no logo, or logo's now on the bottom down here. I can have my logo bottom right 2 agents, top right 1 agent, top right 2 agents, top right 3 agents, which is the one I like. Or I can just go with small header, no footer. So there's all kinds of different selections you can have. I like the top right with 3 agents because I got 3 on this. If there was only just me, then I can go top right 1 agent. So then it just has my information with the logo up here. All right, let's go back to 3, keep it good. Here's where we can create our table of contents. You can do just reports, which are these underneath the sections. You can do just sections, which are the, I think, 5 or 6 sections that we had. Or you can come in here and have sections with reports, which is what I like to do. You can bookmark it. You can secure it if you want to, change the amount of years for the projection. And if you go to the investment summary, you can see that down here we have the disclaimer with no logo. If you want to put your logo down there, you can put it on the right. So now you can see the white logo is down here on the right, or you can put it on the left. So you can have your logo inside the disclaimer as well. All right? And I just like it hidden since we already have it at the top. So that's how you can change all that information. All right, so what does this little bad boy look like when we publish it? Here is what that completed proposal looks like. Now I went in and added the rent comps, added the sale comps, completed the BOV, the broker opinion of value, added some market information, and here is what a completed proposal looks like in landscape, which I really like landscape. Some people like portrait, some like a mix. You can, throughout the proposal, create a mix. So if we come down, here's what the table of contents looks like. Very clean. You can see it's 2 pages because of how many we have in the proposal. Comes down to property description. And then this is what those section pages look like. Remember I told you we can add images? Well, this is an image that I put behind photos and maps in section 1. And you'll see where there'll be multiple different images for these. Here's property photos, some exterior shots, some more exterior shots with amenities, some interior shots, location map, aerial map. Now I went into Google Earth, created a, kind of a slant profile, drew out the property and brought it in as a custom map and aerial. And I did it again here so you can get an idea of where the property is. Right here is our local mall. So the property's in this is I-65, Airport Boulevard. Great location for a property. Again, real property, fictitious proposal. Here's where it's located in Mobile, Alabama. And then investment analysis. Again, one of those pictures. So you can see how good looking this report is. We got our acquisition costs, investment summary, financial indicators, income and expense cash flow, and then after-tax results. Looking like a pretty good deal. Investment details, when the analysis was done, the property, income and expenses, financial information, purchase information, loan information. Unit mix report, got some nice charts with it, the different unit mixes, average square feet, rents, monthly market rents, and monthly for market rents. So you can kind of see your Proforma numbers here, which segues right into the Proforma Summary. We have our actuals, and then we have our market. So you can get what the T12 was, and then we can get what our pro forma is, so we can see those side by side. We've got some more summary information over on the left side. Our cash flow analysis, what's our DCF look like over the next 5 years? So here's what that looks like. Here's what our investment return analysis looks like, cash flow to date, net resale proceeds if we sell in 1 year through 5, net return on investment, internal rate of return, modified internal rate of return, net present value, and then of course our present value on existing cash flows. Here's our market information. Again, this is downtown Mobile. Yep, that's it. That's all we have for high rises. We're just a little small market of 450,000 people. Here's some market information about Mobile. This was brought in on a custom PDF. Here's some demographic information about the market, and I got this from Site to Do Business, an infographic report for Mobile, again brought in on a custom PDF. Now we'll go into property value. Here's the broker opinion of value. Give a summary. Don't read the summary, it's just text with the valuation method that we chose. Here it is for the income method, what we use for the income method. Here's the sale comparison method and how we determine sale comparison method. Here's the rent comps we used. Oh yeah, that was a panoramic image that really didn't come in right. 4 rent comparables to the subject, where they're mapped on the area map, and then our sale comps, where the cap rates are, where the gross rent multipliers are, price per unit, price per square foot, and then the sale comp information for those comps backing up that BOV, and then mapping where they're located. And then we go into a marketing plan. So the marketing plan, I'll show you how to edit it. We still have some time. In week 1 through 16, this is a 4-month report. Let's say we're doing a call for offers, which is pretty typical in the multifamily world. We start with preparing the OM. Then we're going to upload to all the exchanges, whether it's LoopNet, whether it's Marketplace for RealNex, Crexi, Brevitas, your MLS, Catalyst, whatever you're uploading, all those exchanges. We're going to do that in week 2. We're going to update those every 2 weeks after that. We're going to send out an email blast to our database every single week till it closes. In week 7, we're going to start receiving LOIs. We're going to do counter offers. Week 8, we're going to determine the buyer, and by week 9, we've got a purchase agreement. We're going to do due diligence for the remainder of the contract and then close in week 14. So here you can put in a marketing plan. I don't know any other product that allows you to create a marketing plan like this. And then the last thing, agent bios, we just put in our own information. So that's what the proposal looks like once it's been produced. If you want to come to unit mix, if I edit the page, I can edit actual rents. I can and put in the market rent. So I can edit all this info. Well, I can't edit actual because that was entered, but I can enter these market rents. So to create this report for the market rents. If I want to switch this to portrait, I just come here, hit portrait, and that'll bring it to portrait. Let's see, I believe that will now change the rest of them to portrait as well. When you come to property photos and anything that has actual photos in them, you have to come up here because of the template, and then you've got to select the portrait for photo because we had 4 photos in here. So you just have to change this to the portrait for photos, and that'll change all these. And that way you've got those in portrait, and then you'll need to do the same thing for the cover sheet because that's on a landscape. We'll have to go to portrait, full photo, 3 agents. So now I've got it. Now everything's in portrait. So it changes that easily. All right. So the next thing I want to show you, and you've got to admit, this is one, if you remember REI-wise, 4 or 5 years ago, we've gone head and shoulders above what REI-wise used to be. There was a lot of white space, and you had just a really, I don't want to call it substandard, but just a basic looking proposal or offering memorandum. And now it's gorgeous. Your images go all the way to the edges on a lot of the pages, and it's just really, really professional looking. So now I want to come in and let's talk about development analysis. So here's a land parcel that was in our database for Miami, and I don't know if this is a real property or not. It probably is. But I'm going to come over here to the General tab, and you see this little bubble right here, this little button, Development Analysis. When I click on this, this now allows me to come in here and create a development analysis for this property. So I'm going to do a multifamily development opportunity, 13 acres, 125,000 square foot, buildable, and 110,000 rentable. 4 floors, three types of unit mixes, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom, and 180 parking spaces, which ends up being a 120 unit property. So it's a 1.5 parking ratio. We go to development costs. We can enter all of our development costs. You can enter them by amount or you can enter them by per square foot. So we have them for acquisition. We have our site prep, and you can see it totals it at the bottom. We've got our construction costs, so we can enter all our construction costs in here. Now for you development folks out there, I just made these numbers up. They're probably pretty close, but don't scrutinize my numbers. I just made them up for this case study. And they're like for site prep. You'll see that this starts to repeat. And the reason is you can edit this information. So if you need more line items in here, you could put them in here. Soft costs, same thing, amount or per square foot if you want for your soft costs. Same thing, it doubles so you can enter more soft costs. Any miscellaneous costs, and then your contingency either in a percentage or a dollar amount. Go to your financing. It will calculate your development period based on what you've put in your interest rate for your bridge loan, and then what the developer's equity is. Yes, I know it's a low equity. Don't shoot me in the forehead. Then you've got your acquisition percentages for this development. We all know that acquisition and soft costs, miscellaneous, they can't be used as part of the development financing. So we set those at 0 and we put the other ones at the percentage we think they're going to be. When we add this information here, this is where it's going to calculate that development period. All right, once that's done, that will update some of this information. So if this was originally land for $1.1 million, I believe it was, now it creates the total project cost. If I was to uncheck mark that, this can go back to what the land cost is. Right? And it's multifamily and the rest of the information you've already seen. So here's our land cost down here. So same information all the way across. Financials match the financials we put in the, and here's where you can see the interest only, 3-year amortization. In loan 2, we're going to refinance in year 4 into a permanent loan, probably a Fannie or Freddie. Could potentially be an FHA, but who wants to wait that long for an FHA? Although you got to love their financing. Income, you're going to go ahead and put in what your projected rents are going to be, what the projected miscellaneous income is. Expenses, we did speed analysis on the expenses because I didn't want to go through and do all this, but you could put all your projected expenses, capital expenses, and then your projections. So now you can see that in year 1, our cash flow is negative $2,052,000, and that's because we're developing the property. Year 2, we got some cash flow because in year 2 we were 25% on our vacancy, and then year 3 we start actually cash flowing and going towards resale at whatever year you want to do it. On this output, we did our resale at 10 years, so it was a develop and hold. I was doing something with Colliers earlier. We could change this back to RealNex. And if I go to the development summary, which we didn't have before, you can see that now we have the development analysis, brings in the financing information, the financing costs, our general information about the property, and then our development analysis. What were our acquisition costs per square foot in total, site prep, construction, soft, miscellaneous financing, contingencies, and then total. So it looks like total $206.45 per square foot. That's actually pretty close to a real multifamily project of 120 units. I actually got lucky with that when I did this. Development costs in bar graph, come on down. Now it'll give you your site prep information, give you your soft cost details and your rent per square foot or cost per square foot and your percent total with amount. Construction cost, acquisition, miscellaneous, and then your contingencies. So you can now add a development analysis to your proposal or your offering memorandum. All right. Last thing I want to show you is, again, you've got this Guide Me feature. Remember that the Guide Me feature will show you pretty much everything you need to get started in here, and it walks you through step by step. You've got some videos here that you can watch, adding a cover page, a photo page, a property summary, creating sections, property description, how do you set your branding up, your investment tools, the orientation, creating a new property. But we know now, instead of doing that, we'll come here and we'll just create it right from here. Or we can do an office, or we can do an industrial or a commercial, or we can go to other videos. So this Walk Me feature really replaces the training section, which if we go here, you've got the knowledge base and training center. Here's MarketEdge. You could come here for any training you need outside of here. But honestly, this Guide Me feature will really walk you through exactly how to do everything. One last thing I want to say is, once the property is complete and you're ready to list it, even if you don't have the full suite, as designees, you get MarketEdge for free. Candidates get 20% discount, but you'll always have access to Marketplace, which allows you to list your property and search for other properties. So when I'm ready to list, I just click this little publish listing in Marketplace. So it will bring all the information that you've created into the listing. And then I can either create it here or here if it's a for lease. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to put this on the Marketplace. And then I know a lot of you guys know that we have MarketEdge, which is, let's see, let's go to this property. When I go to MarketEdge, I actually can create a website for the property. Just going to go over this real briefly because I still have a few more minutes. This allows you to create a website, and I wouldn't recommend having investment financials charts up here. You can select these or deselect them when you create it. They go here to access the documents inside the deal room. Click here to register. They put their name, last name, phone, company name, whether they're a broker and investor. When they hit next, they will be able to check mark a box that allows them to agree to the confidentiality agreement that you uploaded, and that will get them access to all the documents. So where do they access those documents? Well, from Market, let's go back here. From the deal room, you can create the deal room from, that's going to take me to the wrong spot. Hold on one second. We can never do one of these without a little bit of an error. So let's go back here. I can access the deal room for where I just showed you, or I can go to the deal room here. When you first create a deal room, it will ask you certain questions on how you want to set it up. One of the things you want to remember is any information you update. So if you upload new documents, doc update auto email, when that's check marked, then your users will get a new email. Here's where you upload your CA for an investor and for a broker, and then just other information about that property. When we're uploading documents, we just go to upload, whether it's basic or maximum. You've got 7 levels of security. For basic, for me, for multifamily, that's my offering memorandum. Level 2 is going to be my T12 and my rent roll. Level 3 is going to be due diligence information. 4th level is going to be audited financials. And then 5th through maximum is going to be listing documents, buyer rep documents, things like that. And then you just hit add the files and start upload for whatever level. If you mess up and upload everything for basic, you can come back to details, just edit it, and you can change that level right here and then just save it. Same thing when you've got a participant that's come in, you can see what everybody's doing. I can add a new participant if I want somebody to come in, not somebody that clicked on the link, or I can change this participant's access level. So now I only want them to be basic or 6th level or 2nd level. Hit save and that will change their information. So that's the deal room. This is part of the MarketEdge, which you guys have 100% free for designees, and again, 20% discount for all candidates. So with that, I know I've been talking pretty consistently for a good 45 minutes, maybe 43. I think it's now time for some Q&A. So what kind of questions you guys have? And Carol, if you're back on, I have not any questions.
I am.
So do you have any questions
Yes.
to come across?
So there are a few
Okay.
questions. One of them is, can you do mixed use with this module? Or with, I think you were doing an investment analysis when that question came in.
Correct. So probably carefully. So let's go in and just look at the test property, and there it is right there, mixed use. So yes, you can. So now when we go to income, we have the different leases that we can put in here. We can add reimbursements and renewals. It's got the room for expiration dates, TIs, and again, lease type, credit rating, if they have a stock symbol, guarantor, website, all that information.
Okay, he's clarifying here in the development module.
Well, so in the development, if I click development analysis, you create your, it would all be the same thing, and then however many suites or units you had, you'd enter that information here. So if it's 10, that's going to change this number down here. Floors, let's say it's an 8-floor mixed-use property, or maybe it's just 3 because it's retail on the bottom and condos on 2-story condos on the top. However you wanted to do that, and then put in the same development costs, same financing information, and then really where the rubber hits the road is when you're putting in your income and expenses, really the income for the mixed use. So it's just a matter of how you're creating your leases. So that didn't really come, didn't we select under development analysis, we had 10 suites. That should have changed it here. So now we have all the different suites that we can add that income in. Does that help? Everything else is pretty much the same.
Okay, so while we're waiting for a response on that, someone has said, I'm wanting to do a marketing plan for a new listing.
Okay.
Is there a step-by-step for that?
All right, so let's go to output. Let's come down here to marketing plan. Hit edit page. So you can create your own categories. You saw the categories I had. As a matter of fact, I'll just load that template. I had marketing, negotiations, due diligence, and closing. So you enter your categories first, up to 5 of them, and then you can enter items for each category. You can do from 2 months up to 6 months. It doesn't go beyond 6 months for the marketing plan. I like to do 4 months because that's when a typical multifamily will sell. When you enter in the different items, you can then select the category. So category 1 we know was marketing. Well, why didn't those show up? Categories, items. Okay, we got a little glitch here. Hold on. Cancel. Edit page. Items. I don't know why this is showing up as categories. So category 1 is marketing, but that should show up as marketing. In 1 week, what's my frequency? I'm going to go to a different property and see where I know it's working right. And then I got to figure out why it isn't working on that one. Let's go to marketing plan. All right, so if I edit page, there's my categories, and you can see that the categories should show up with what you have. Oh, you have to save it first. That's what it is. So once you hit the categories, hit save, then come back in again to edit page, and you can enter your items and then your category save. That's why they weren't showing up. You have to save it first. So you put in all your different items, and then you've got each category. So we know Prepare OM is a marketing category, upload to exchanges, going to occur in week 1, week 2, week 4, week 2, weekly, every 2 weeks once. So what's the frequency? And again, could be never, could be weekly, every 2 weeks, monthly, every 2 months, 3 months, or ongoing. And that's where it shows up in these old tick marks on how you do it for frequency. Does that answer their question?
I believe so.
Okay.
If not, we'll have them do a follow-up question. So another question that has come in, David, is regarding tax credit deals and how MarketEdge would handle that.
I'm going to have to defer. I would assume in financials that you'd have to figure that out some way in the financial section. I don't believe there's anywhere in here, maybe some reimbursables and expenses. You can bring the, but then it shows up under your operating and not outside, which I believe you want your tax credits to be. Of course you do. You want your tax credits outside the NOI. So I'm going to say right now there isn't a way to handle tax credits, but I'll find out for sure. Email me, whoever that was that asked that, at dmonroe@realnex.com, and I'll talk to our coder and find out that information. Right now, I don't know a way to do it.
Okay, and I just sent your email address. I just put it out there. So now everyone has it, Dave. Okay, so there were a few questions that came in, and I think you can answer all of them if you can show people how to access RealNex from Site to Do Business.
Sure.
And then also, if you'll go ahead. And then one of the questions was, how do they find the page to get signed up, or how do they go about signing up? So this will also answer that question.
Okay.
So once you're logged into Site to Do Business, go ahead. I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. So once you're, well, I went too far. I went one step too far. That's going to bring me into ArcGIS because that's where I was before. Here we go. So you see RealNex MarketEdge here. If I hit open.
Okay, we're not, okay, now we're seeing it. It was a little bit delay.
Oh, okay. If I hit open, that's going to bring me into realnex.com/CCIM. If you're just wanting your free MarketEdge account, you can click the free MarketEdge for designees and sign up for it here. All right. If you're a candidate, you can start the process here, and then you'll be taken to a sales professional who will actually set the account up for you, and you get 20% off the solution for candidates. If you're wanting the whole suite and not just MarketEdge, then there are sales associates in the country that are for specific regions. If you email me, again, Carol sent you my email address, dmonroe@realnex.com, then I will connect you to the sales associate for your specific region. I cover the East Coast, which basically is from the Mississippi-Louisiana state line up the western edge of Mississippi, across the northern edge of Tennessee, up the eastern edge of Kentucky, eastern edge of Ohio, and into Canada, and everything east. That's my region. The central region covers most of the central part of the United States, and then the western region covers the western part of the United States. And we each have our own sales associates for those areas. that's the ways to get in here.
Okay. All right. And then can you show them where from site to do business, there have been several questions about, is this being recorded and where will it be posted? So if you go to essentially to the Learning Center, so when you're on site to do business, you saw where he linked to the Learning Center. And then once you're on the Learning Center on the webinars page, we will post this probably even later this afternoon over on the right-hand side of the page. And we kind of do those in backwards chronological order. So the most recent webinar will be at the top. So that's where you'll go to find the recording. Another question that's come in, David, and this may be the last one we have time for, okay, is do designees have access to the whole suite or only a portion?
So designees have access to MarketEdge, no restrictions. That's the financial analysis, lease analysis, development analysis, report builder, deal room, and MarketEdge, the website. No restrictions. You also have access, which everybody has access to, Marketplace. So if I come back, we'll try to be quick about this. Marketplace is the free list and search module. Everybody has access to this. It's free. The only thing you don't have access to as a free subscriber are the email campaigns. And then the paid version of it, which nobody has access to unless they're a paid member, and there is special upgrade pricing for designees and candidates, and that is the CRM. So when you upgrade, you're not paying for all three modules separately. You're actually paying one price for all three, and it's a discounted rate so that you're not paying the, CRM Core has its own price, MarketEdge has a price, Marketplace has a price. There's actually a discounted price if you have all three combined, and we call that the suite. And there's reduced pricing for designees and reduced pricing for candidates. Obviously, the designees get a larger reduction than the candidates. That's so you candidates will get your designation and have a free benefit for yourself. Anything else, Carol?
I think that is it. If for some reason we did not get to your question, you have David's email address. Feel free to reach out to him or to Site to Do Business support, and that's just support@stdb.com, and we can get questions over to him. Great session, David. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you doing this, and it's great for our members to be exposed to this tool in a way that they haven't been in a while, and especially with the exciting new releases and things that you guys have been doing. So thank you very much. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. We will, as we said, have this recorded and placed on the Learning Center if you want to go back and revisit it. Any final thoughts, David?
Nope. I just want to thank everybody for showing up. And if you want to contact me by phone, it's 281-661-1288, extension 329. My cell phone is 251-508-0010. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon, everyone.